What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody feeling this brand new year? The first episode of the Shop Podcast for 2021. Hopefully, everybody had a phenomenal New Year's Eve. Hopefully, everybody was safe, had a good time. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us for the very first episode of the Shop Podcast in 2021. 2020 has been a long, tiring year. So hope everybody started this year with some good energy, man. Once again, just want to say I appreciate everybody that comes out, supports the show, retweets the links, responds to the polls of the week, everything. I appreciate you guys so much. So once again, let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. Retweet the link on Twitter right now. Super Chat is live as well if you want to support the show that way. Let everybody know what's going down here on the Shop Podcast, man. And we do have another amazing first-time guest. We'll jump into that right now. So let's just dive right into that. So we'll start with you, Pong. Once again, appreciate you coming out, being a first-time guest on the show. Now, we were talking about this pre-game. I had seen you in a few chats and here on the Shop Podcast as well. So appreciate you showing support here. But better to have you on the show, man. So kind of give your introduction to everybody here that may not be aware who you are, brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the introduction and obviously the invite. I can't, kind of shocked that you invited me. I love starting off 2021 this way on this show. So I'm just Pong Soul. Been a gamer for 44 years now, 42
Nice.
years, whatever it's been, man, something crazy. But I've been out here supporting. I got involved through Twitter and supported a lot of podcasts. A lot of people claimed I was a bot for a while because I'm in so many podcast chats. I'm not, but I just love talking video games, pure and simple, because I've been playing them for so long. So I'm just happy to be here. 2021 starting right, and let's get into the show.
Let's get into the show, man. Once again, his information is in the description below as well. Hit him up on Twitter, man. You're probably going to be seeing a lot more from him because generally what happens is once you're on one, you tend to go on like this book tour for like a week or 2 weeks or so right after. So I'm sure you guys will see him on other shows from this point going forward. But to follow him, make sure you click on the link in the description. Go straight to his Twitter. Let him know what's up. Let him know you appreciate the support. But once again, Pong, appreciate to have you here, man, this weekend. Spend a little bit of time with us, brother. Let me go ahead and get into my other two compadres. As you guys can see, we're missing one amigo. Shout out to Stag. It is him and his wife's anniversary. So, man, happy anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Stag. Man, hope you guys are having a great, safe evening, weekend, whatever you want to call it. But shout out to Stag, man. I know if he was here, he'd be fucking with us right now, but appreciate Stag. He's awesome and amazing. But let's get into my two compadres that are here. We'll start with you, Centurion. How you been this week, bro? What you been playing? What you been up to, man?
Oh, man. God, I finally got some gaming in. Was able to really take some time off from work, but all I did was really just kind of get into ESO, and I'm trying to think of the other game I got into, but I really just didn't really play anything other than ESO. I just wanted to relax this week. It was a just nice, relaxing weekend and did nothing. Saw some fireworks, but definitely ready to chat about games. And it's also awesome to meet Mr. Pong Soul. Like he said, you see him in a lot of chats, and I've seen him in a lot of chats, and it's really nice to actually put a voice to somebody you see in like the chat in almost every show you're on.
Awesome. So we making connections around here. But once again, we're all happy to see you, Pong. All happy to have you on the show.
And that's also why I remember it wasn't lackluster. Me and my friends sat and played Call of Duty all day yesterday. That's nice. What it was. I got convinced to finally take the plunge on Call of Duty.
Yeah, I played a little bit today.
Huh?
I played a little bit of Black Ops today.
You did?
Cold War. Black Ops Cold War. Sorry. I played a little bit today. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely, we'll have to play. I mean, I was very reluctant. Let me see. What was it? It was what was the one where they had the battle royale?
Oh, Warzone?
Warzone, not the Warzone. The one where before that, where it was like the first battle royale that they did. They didn't even have a campaign.
I was off COD for a while, but
yeah, I mean that completely. I bought that one. It was supposed to be this great, glorious thing, and then nobody ended up playing. I completely skipped on Modern Warfare, the one before this. And so what was a couple days ago, 108 Dragons or Lemon, and my buddy Zombie, they both convinced me to get Call of Duty, and I'm actually happier with this one than the last one. That is for sure.
Nice, nice. So glad to see you playing some video games. Glad to have you here this weekend on the Shop Podcast, man. Always consistent. And last but not least, we got Fuzzy Belvedere. He may be a little tired. Fuzzy been moving furniture, building stuff all weekend, putting stuff together, man. But appreciate having you here, Fuzz, every single weekend, bro. What you been up to, man? I kind of let the cat out the bag, but
Well, for these past couple of weeks, I've had to disassemble my man cave or my gaming room, and my twin boys are getting old enough now where they need to have their own room. So I had to disassemble stuff, move it into a part of the bedroom, like the seating area type of thing. So getting all that together, getting furniture together for them so they can have their own rooms finally, and trying to get 2 Xboxes and gaming rigs and all that other stuff and the furniture to go along with it all set up. So yeah, it's been pretty active ever since the holidays or ever since Christmas. So, but man, glad to be here. Glad to have Pong on here as a guest, and man, let's get right to it.
get right to it, man. You know what we do on the shop. Once again, everybody retweet the link, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you guys for your support every single week, man. We love having each and every one of you here on the show. So let's dive right in. We're not going to wait any longer. So we're going to roll with the poll of the week like we do every single week, man. So the poll of the week is something I put up on Monday on Twitter. Once again, all of that information is in the description below, so follow me there if you want to be a part of the poll of the week. So I appreciate every single person that does take advantage of that. So poll of the week this week actually was, since 2020 is coming to an end, I wanted to know, do you have any gaming New Year's resolutions? And if yes, what are they? If no, why not? So actually 51% voted yes, they do. 49% voted no. So we're going to go ahead and just start with our special guest. So I'm not big into the resolutions, but where you at on this, Pong? Do you have any gaming specific New Year's resolutions for 2021? Yes or no, brother?
I'm not big into resolutions either, as far as my regular life goes. But for gaming this year, I looked at your poll and I thought about it. And you know what? I made the resolution. I'm a lone wolf most of the time when it comes to gaming. So I do a lot of single player. And if I'm multiplayer, I'll play with randoms. I really don't care. But this year, since I'm now involved in the community a lot more and found all these great people, I have decided that I'm going to definitely be more involved and play more games on live with the people from the community. That's my resolution for this year.
Nice.
Awesome. I like that. I like, because I'm the same way. I have this platform. We do YouTube and we do the podcast, and I look at my friend list. I got like 700 people, and I'm like, man, I'm struggling to find people to play with. You know what I'm saying? So I don't take advantage of that like I should actually. So that's a big one. And to be honest with you, I think all of us do that. I think a lot of us do that. So that's a really, really good one. Once again, chat, let us know, what is your gaming New Year's resolution for 2021, chat? So let everybody know right now in the chat what you guys think about 2021 and what some of the things you guys may change. If not, let us know about that as well. So great answer, Pong. I didn't even think about that, but great answer. So let's throw this over to you, Centurion. Where you at on this, man? Do you have a gaming resolution for 2021?
Well, first off, I'm just want to comment on your guys'. I'll say my microphone and my chat's always open. Hit me up anytime. Because man, I've definitely, like the blue one. He hit me up one night and we sat there playing Avengers, and I mean it's actually fun to play with people in the community, man. Because you just feels more like community. But anyways, mine was, you actually saw it. My little baby Yoda GIF stood for itself. I am easily distracted when it comes to games. I mean, like, I am all over the damn place. I mean, you saw it right now. I completely forgot that I played Call of Duty yesterday because I played ESO all day the day before. Oh my God, freaking dude. I need to learn to play one game from start to finish. So that way I actually could get through some of these great games and move on to some of the other ones. That's pretty much my resolution, is to concentrate on just one game and beat it and move on to the next one.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think we all have gaming ADD to a point. It's been like programmed. I mean, so many games come out so often, and the quality of these games are so good. With things like Game Pass, it makes it worse. You buy a game, you jump into Game Pass. You buy a new game, you see some new shit in Game Pass.
Dude,
so we never
you
really
go out and buy a new game, and then you're about to like play it, and then all of a sudden a little tile pops up. now in Game Pass. You're like, ooh, what's this?
Exactly. There's so many games that I've discovered, things like that. So we have so many more options. But I want to kind of roll this back to Pong real quick. So do you have that issue as well, Pong, as far as like Shishno said, shout out to Shishno leading the chat, that squirrel issue that we have as gamers where you're starting and stopping a bunch of different games at one time.
You're talking to the king squirrel right here, okay? So, no, man, I was gonna jump in on Centurion there because I was just about to say I would never be able to keep that resolution, and I'm not even gonna try, right? So, for me, especially as I've gotten older, I have found myself I don't complete games. If I complete a game, it means it's an amazing game. Like right now in Cyberpunk, I got 130 hours. Okay, that's big for me, right?
Wow.
That does not happen, right?
Yeah.
So for me, no, man, it's never going to happen. I just like to experience as many different worlds and places and stories as possible. I'm not even worried about finishing games anymore. So I'm just.
The only thing I hate, it's like all of a sudden you go back to a game and all of a sudden you're thrown into a fighting situation when you what was it? It was Code Vein. I quit playing that game for like a week or two and went back to it, and I got my ass handed to me for over an hour before I finally got back into the rhythm of actually being able to fight.
That is funny because that is something I have been saying now for years, is that game developers, that's one of my biggest wishes, is that they would have not even necessarily like a tutorial, but just something that eases you back in.
No, in Code Vein, you can play the tutorial anytime.
That's good.
Nice.
You go to the little place where you save your game, and right on the bottom of the screen it says play tutorial. So at any time you can play the tutorial.
That's perfect. I need that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I think, like, once again, just kind of bringing everything back here, that's a huge. I think we all suffer from that as well. Like, I jump around from game to game as well, whatever the flavor of the month, however I'm feeling, depending on the emotional state I'm in. All of those factor in what the hell I'm going to play. So
PTK, I like what DeBlue put in the chat. Welcome back mode.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Welcome back mode. That's
perfect.
That's a perfect name. Yeah, put that on the t-shirt for sure. Copyright that because somebody's definitely gonna need that. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Let's get your opinion. Where you at, man? Do you have any 2021 gaming resolutions?
Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to be more strategic with my game purchases. We got 2 kids, 2 consoles. They got their gaming rigs. They got their phones. So I'm going to have to get a second thing of Game Pass because you can only share across just 2 consoles. So now with each of them having their own, it's like, okay, we gotta put money more towards the Game Pass setup for both of them. And then when it comes to games that I think might wind up in Game Pass, it's like, let me wait until it gets in Game Pass and then buy it on sale, and try not to buy as many games on day one if I know I'm probably not going to get right to it. Because there's been so many games I've like pre-ordered or downloaded or purchased it the day it comes out, and then it goes into the backlog, and then a month, 2, 3, 6 months go by, and then it's like either a PS Plus or a Game Pass or games with gold game. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm finally going to get to this game, and it's for free. I should have just waited. So I gotta just kind of plan things out a little bit better, so that way I don't go broke buying games on day one that I'm definitely not going to play on day one.
All right. So no, I feel you on that, Fuzz. I 100% feel you on that, man. Gotta be a little bit more strategic. You say that, but as soon as these games start releasing, that shit go out the window, Fuzz. We don't know how that goes. That whole
True.
You can make a spreadsheet, all of that. Dude, you Excel, all of that. It's not going to work. It's not going, because you always gonna have those impulse buys, those sales happen. You're like, well, I ain't really played much of this, but I'm gonna buy it just in case I play it, not because I'm actually going to. Let's talk about that a little bit, Paul. What about the just in case purchases? I may not even play this, but I'm gonna buy it just in case I do.
Many.
Oh no! Hold it. Okay, so I hate to jump in on this. Okay, so what I do for a living is I actually happen to deal with a lot in trailer sales, and what I deal with a lot of customers that are willing to spend thousands of dollars just so they can backpack their friends' crap. Like
Yeah.
they're like, well, I need to put all my stuff on here, but my buddy also has this, that, and the other. I'm like, so you're gonna spend how much more money just to haul your friend's stuff? And dude, oh my god. So yeah, definitely. How many games do I buy because I'm like, oh, I know my homie over here is gonna play this game online, and then we never ever really play, and you end up with a game that you never played that you bought to play with other people, and now you're never gonna play it.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
I've done that multiple times myself. So just to wrap this particular topic up, everybody, we have a lot of issues, and I think we all share. This is not a.
Are you saying we need a support group around here or what?
Yeah, Gamers Anonymous.
I feel like we're all sitting in a room right now with one light. We're all in a circle. Hi, my name's Centurion.
No, absolutely. This is not a psychology podcast, but we have some issues that we all do share as gamers. So let's be 100% honest about that. But once again, everybody, that was a great warm up topic. Once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about the topics in the chat. Keep this thing moving. Once again, super chat is open if you guys do want to support the channel that way as well. Subscribe, like the channel. You guys already know what to do. So let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. So I did want to kind of rewind here because we really gotta take some time to go back and think about this past generation. This past generation that to me officially ended as of yesterday. I'm looking nothing but forward from this point forward. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking nothing but forward in the gaming industry from this point forward. So I want to kind of break down what's the biggest gaming moment of last gen for each and every one of us. Once again, chat, let us know for you individually, what's the biggest moment in gaming the last generation from 2013 when these new consoles dropped up until I say the new, well, not new consoles, the 2013 Xbox One, PS4 up until November of last year when the new consoles dropped. So where you at on this, Pone? You got a favorite gaming moment of the generation?
I thought about this because I saw your topic list and I started going back, and obviously there's some easy ones in there and there's some big stuff, but I actually stuck in the old VCR tape and rewound it all the way back to the FBI warnings, right? So I took this thing all the way back to the beginning of the generation, and actually the announcement of both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, because that defined the generation and that set up to where we are now, right? So those two announcements and the absolute opposite reaction that both companies got, right? So PlayStation was coming off of, still a successful generation with the PS3, but obviously it had issues with the cell technology and all that kind of stuff, and they were behind. And Microsoft was coming off arguably the best generation with the 360. And here we have them, and Sony comes in humbled, and they show up with just a solid piece of equipment in the PlayStation 4. They have their messaging on point. They are ready to come out of the gates, right away. I mean, they're going to shoot out, right? And Microsoft coming in a very solid position, ready to continue to move forward. And what do? They bungle everything out of the gate, right? Their messaging
possibly.
As bad as you could possibly do it, right? They read the room completely wrong, came out with all this messaging that nobody wanted to hear, and myself included, right? Myself included. I didn't want to hear anything about everything they brought. TV, entertainment, the whole, debacle with all the licensing, and you're going to have to be online all the time. And you got Matrix saying, we got a machine for you. It's called the 360. Just awful messaging. But that starting point brought us here now. And without that starting point, we may not have Game Pass as we have it today, right? Yep. So we may not have Microsoft in the position of such a mountain to climb to catch up, that they've had to pull out all the stops and change everything that they did, right? And come back to being a gaming machine, and then on top of it, thinking outside of the box and saying, okay, everybody's moving towards streaming. What are we going to do? Creating xCloud, creating the Game Pass service. That's brought us to this moment. And obviously, PlayStation dominated, and they're ready to continue that trend. They have stayed the course with their strategy as far as, consoles, exclusives. and here we are. And now we have two titans battling, which is great for all gamers, right?
Yeah,
And then and then you got Nintendo doing Nintendo things, not not
whatever
my
the
style.
fuck they want, that's what that means.
Yep, exactly. They're playing their own game over there, and they're winning. So we got three solid positioned companies now at this point, and it all started back then, right at the beginning, with those announcements and the reaction that each one of them caused.
Awesome. I love it. I love that. I love because people forget. Before we move on, the blue with the $10 super chat, first super chat of 2021, bro. I need to frame that for sure. I appreciate you, Blue. He said, book it first super chat of the new year. Thank you so much, Blue. You always here every week showing support, man. Thank you. I do greatly, greatly appreciate any donations / super chat that we get here on the show, man. So thank you. Really appreciate that. Didn't want to cut you off, Pong, but I wanted to make sure I got to that, brother. But no, that was definitely a great. I mean, we couldn't start it off better than that because I don't. One thing I think people forget about Paul, because the generation, this one's a bit lengthy. It lasted about 7 years or so.
Yep.
It's a bit lengthy. A lot of controversy. It was a bit of a roller coaster if you're on the Xbox side of things. But I think people really forget how bad 2013 actually was, and it makes the transition that much awesome. Like you look at Xbox now. You would have no idea they went through those first 2 to 3 years of hell. Like you would have, if you just bought a console, you have no idea. So it makes it that much better that they made the changes that they did. So I agree with you. For me, that probably, in hindsight thinking, that probably will be the biggest moment for me as well. Because you think about it now, and it's like, man, that was a miracle. I mean, Sega tried to do that, and they don't even make consoles anymore.
Correct.
So that happened to Sega, and Sega doesn't make consoles. So
and Microsoft was on the edge. I mean, again, absolutely. we know now that they were on the edge. Satya asked Phil straight up, "Why are we in here? Exactly. Why are we in this space?"
They had that conversation for sure. So it definitely, I think people really need to, and that's why when you think about where they started at, where they are now, I mean, it's phenomenal. And Phil's done an amazing job. The entire team. Microsoft, Satya, it's a complete 180. I mean, go ahead.
Can I just jump in on one thing? Like, because I always, for some reason, always think about people's emotions. Could you imagine being in the position of Phil Spencer and pretty much the guy running the show, Satya Nadella, looks you in the face and asks you to justify the existence of Xbox? Now, we're not thinking about the players and all that. We're thinking about the employees, the families, the people that would be affected by the non-existence of Xbox. So imagine having to sit there and stomach that, and then to reach deep into your mind and actually rattle off whatever he rattled off to convince him that to hold the course and to see where it is today.
A gamer is the only person that could have had that conversation. A true gamer is the only thing that could have convinced Satya that the Xbox still should be around. And I think that's that. I don't know the conversation he had. None of us do. But I think that's the conversation that he most likely had from a gamer standpoint. He probably he's like, forget about this title. I'm asking you from a gaming standpoint. I'm sure they had that conversation. It was probably a very lengthy one. But I agree, Centurion. So that's a great segue onto you. So what was your biggest moment, you would say, of this last generation?
Well, it's kind of funny. I could sit here and probably pull some big moments that would be personally to me, but I want to stay towards Pong's idea of relevance. And I guess one that always comes to mind that happened this generation that I swear needs to be made into a movie is how Epic Games could take a failure of a game like Fortnite and throw a game mod on it and build an entire empire that is now coming to the point where
it's not even a game anymore.
Yeah, they're actually now competing with Steam. They're a standalone, pretty much game. What's a publisher? So honestly, I really think that's something that should be noteworthy in the fact of this generation about how somebody completely took the idea, regretfully. PUBG was a great game, but it was a very underutilized concept, something that we see now that they are having a little difficulty kind of even finessing themselves. And pretty much Epic Games kind of hit it out of the park. They were able to take what they had with Fortnite and build on it and create this mod. And And now here we are, and you can't really deny the fact that these guys have made so much money and gained so much headway off of a game mod that, like, it's unfathomable. The only thing that you could really compare it to,
Minecraft.
honestly, well, like Minecraft, but I'm not trying to like toot their horn or anything, but like compare it to the creation of Facebook. You know, basically, hey, we made this little itty bitty web page that exploded into a phenomenon, just like we made this itty bitty little game mod for a game that completely no one wanted anything to do with. I actually own Fortnite. I actually own Save the World Fortnite, which was actually a really fun game. But you'd be surprised how many people have never actually played Fortnite's original concept.
So I have the Game Informer. I had the Game Informer that came out when they did a review on Fortnite, and it talked nothing about Battle Royale. That entire article in Game Informer, it was on the cover and everything. They talked nothing about Battle. It was all about Save the World, the fort building, and the waves of enemies, and it was just like the only thing I can compare it to, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but Borderlands, as we know it now, wasn't supposed to be the Borderlands we got. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was supposed to be completely different than it was, but this is a very, very, very unique case. And I would agree with you. Fortnite has it's a part of the culture. It's like Legos. It's just, there's no other comparison at this particular point. Like I said, the only thing I think I compare it to as far as size, magnitude, as far as like cultural influences, maybe Minecraft. That's the only other game that I can think that has just as much like cultural pull. Like you see it all over the place. Kids, grandparents to actors and actresses know about it, and it's all over the place. So I agree. I definitely agree with that, Centurion. So let's throw this over to you, Fuzz, and get your opinion, man. What's your biggest gaming moment of last gen, brother?
That's a tough one. Those two guys nailed both the big ones that I was thinking of. But to expand on it, you can look at when basically Phil Spencer did the reset for the business with the following E3. So after he was put into place, doing the backwards compatibility, going through a lot of the things that they probably should have done from the get-go, kind of fixing everything that was there, and then announcing the upcoming consoles, which to me, the mid-gen refresh, unlike previous mid-gen refreshes, I mean, the Xbox One S was pretty much like your typical mid-gen refresh where it's a little bit smaller, a little bit cheaper, maybe a little bit more power to it or something along those lines, but not like to the level that you saw with like the Xbox One X. I think for at least more so for me, the defining factor for me being more of an Xbox fan was when they put that bigger GPU in the Xbox One X, making it easier to transition into 4K gaming. Even though everything is not native 4K in a lot of cases, but there were a handful of games that were native 4K. Going from 1080 to 4K at the time didn't seem like it was going to be that big of a jump, but I almost dare you, unless you're looking just for like frame rate types of situations where it's going from 60 to 120. But I just about dare you to go back from a game that you've played that's, let's say, 4K 60 and try playing 1080 60 and see how your eyes feel afterwards. But for me, I would say, and even with PlayStation, with having the PS4 Pro, that mid-gen refresh pretty much got us to this 4K higher, we're more so higher frame rates now, but higher resolution, more graphical detail, better assets as far as the detail of the characters or the details of the environments, other particle effects and things like that. So that, to me, as somebody that's bounced back and forth from console to PC and back to console, it was a nice, pretty much fan service for those that have been asking for more power after, like Pong was saying, with 2013, they kind of tripped over their own feet coming out the door, and they had a weaker console that they charged more money for, and the messaging wasn't
the Connect.
The Connect. It's like, oh, it's spying on you and whatnot. And Sony, the team in the beginning of 2013, I think that was the biggest thing. It may not have been that they had the most solid plan per se, but they were they were quick-witted as far as being able to pivot right on a dime. It's like, this is how you share a game, and and this is how you take a camera out of a box that we were probably considering to put it in there to save $100. So it was they
Dude, you can
Sony
smell
for
the
the
marker
most.
grind on the sign from when they changed the price on the PS4.
there was I don't know if you guys remember, but during that they were about 20 minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
They were about 20 minutes late because they took that camera out the box last minute. Said, "Nope, we're not doing that shit." You saw what happened to them. No way. But it was smart on their part. So go ahead, Fuzz. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, from a Sony standpoint, I would say their quick-wittedness as far as that team at the beginning of the generation is what really sent it home for them as far as getting a strong footing and then just never letting off the gas pedal the rest of the generation. But for Xbox, with Phil coming into the position, trying to right what was wrong and fix some things, for me, the thing I appreciate the most out of Xbox was the mid-gen refresh, and then with that they showed their commitment to what's now this generation with buying more studios or acquiring these studios to be able to fix one of their not, it wasn't an early issue because they had a decent launch lineup, but there was definitely, because of the shakiness of their launch, that missing of first party games or constant supply of games that were from their in-house studios. But yeah, mid-gen refreshes, that's the biggest thing for me, just from a visual standpoint.
Okay. Okay, cool. Nothing wrong with that, man. I definitely 100% agree with that, my dude. 100% agree with that. So I think another one for me now, this is something that just recently happened last year, and we'll see the fruits of this may be something that we could talk about at the end of this new generation, and it's going to be that Bethesda deal, that ZeniMax deal.
Yeah.
So I think that depending on how that pays dividends, if we get those games, and depending on how they maneuver the games, whether or not they're exclusive, and how big the games, and how Starfield, that could be something we look back and say, okay, that was like that changed the course of where Xbox is going. Having all these new studios and IPs now. So I don't know if you would agree with that, Fuzz, but that could be something that we look at in 5 to 6 years and be like, that was a big deal.
Just about doubling the number of studios, that was a big get. And yeah, it's definitely going to pay dividends going forward as far as those IPs, even if they're not exclusive to Xbox alone, just having that constant supply of things that are going to be in Game Pass. So it's like, if you were having a hard time finding something to play, which I find hard to believe if you're a subscriber of Game Pass, but now there is no question the value of that program as far as finding a new game to play and just trying almost every genre of game or games that you may not even consider touching. So
Yeah.
but that ZeniMax deal, we're going to feel the effects of it this entire generation moving forward.
Absolutely. So I definitely agree with that. So let's go ahead and keep the show moving, man. We're making great time. Once again, everybody, hit the like button, subscribe. If you are new here, let me throw a couple quick shout outs. Shout out to you, Plop. First time I'm seeing you in the chat, but appreciate you here. She Snow, Zinc, as always, brother. Appreciate you here. Sean Sumada of the year. Everybody, Dan, everybody that's in here hanging out with us, Red Raven, everybody that's watching that's not in the chat, jump yourself in the chat and have some fun down there with the fellas and the ladies in there. But appreciate you all. So let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. So while we're kind of in that reminiscing mind state, we're gonna do the next topic is the 2020 gaming year in review. Now 2020 obviously it was a very, very, very different year. I don't want to put a definition on it because it's different for depending on your situation. So it was a very different, tough year for a lot of people, especially in the gaming industry. We had some highs, we had some lows. A lot of things were missing. No E3, all these things that we weren't used to as gamers. So I want to kind of get you guys individual opinions, kind of give a wrap up, kind of a year in review of 2020, where you guys are at the end of 2020, how satisfied are you? Or, are you really excited, just looking forward to 2021? So we're going to start with our guest, Pong. So where are you at, man? What was 2020 for you as far as gaming?
Well, 2020 for me, I'm going to be biased here because I got my game of the generation and one of my favorite games of all time in 2020, and that's Cyberpunk. So,
Nice.
I might be, in that select company of people who love this game. But to wind up with a game like this for me, right at the end of a generation, is everything that I wanted and hoped for, and it made 2020 incredible, right? So there was a lot of disappointment in there. The Last of Us 2 wasn't the story I wanted. Obviously that's been dissected to
Yeah,
death already,
yeah.
right? But for me, I had been looking forward because The Last of Us was one of my favorite of the previous gen,
Nice.
and I was looking heavly, forward
Ironically,
to.
that came out after ass in the last generation as well. That
Yeah,
was like one of the
correct.
last big games to come out. Yep. Just like
Correct.
Cyberpunk. So
Yeah,
yep.
just like Cyberpunk, right? So there was a lot of disappointment, obviously, this year being so tough on everybody. But we all, so many people turn to gaming as an escape, even more so. Like I've gamed more this year than I have probably in the previous 2 years, 3 years combined, right? So for me, it was an awesome year. We got games, surprising games too. Not just Cyberpunk for me, but like Yakuza came out of nowhere and is one of my favorite RPGs of the generation, right? And it surprised me. And then we got games like Wasteland 3. I didn't have a chance to play Ghost of Tsushima because I was back into Xbox so heavily at that point, and I was kind of getting ready to, get rid of my PlayStation 4 to move into the next gen. So I'm going to go back and replay that on PlayStation 5. But obviously from its success, and even The Last of Us 2, got all the success. I think 2020 was a fantastic year for gaming. And I think we're going to look back on this as one of the great years of gaming for a lot of reasons. Just the general, population turning to gaming and creating this huge boom within the industry, which we are going to feel for this entire next gen. From my point of view, I think this is going to propel all these companies and all these developers into this next gen. Because you just opened up the gates to a lot more customers, right? And it's just
Absolutely.
going to get bigger. So we're gonna feel this 2020 year. We're gonna feel it throughout this agenda, and maybe down in the future. Maybe we're going to look back and say 2020 was a huge turning point where gaming became so mainstream that it now competes, as we've seen with sports and movies and TV, and maybe it becomes one, the big one that everybody goes to.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So
No,
I love to see it.
I agree. 100%. I'm glad you highlighted the growth
Yeah.
in game because I think people miss that. Would it being such a rough year? And I 100% agree. There's nobody on this planet that can't say 2020 was not a rough year for a lot of different reasons. But the
Yep.
growth in gaming, I think, is what's important. It was something that we all fell back on. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Something that we all shared. It was a common denominator, and we all fell back on it in with what was going on with the world. And I think, like you said, every month was a bigger month than the previous month. Every month they set a new record as far as gaming sales and
Yep.
just overall, people spending money because it was a perfect, I guess escape from what was everything that was going on. So you're right. I think that will reverberate,
Yeah.
going forward. As far as the money that was spent, as far as developers having to be so creative because they're not able to work at in their offices and doing different things, and a lot of new technology was created to accommodate these
Yep.
developers as well. So there, once everything kind of starts to get back to normal, you're going to see that much better production, game quality, things like that, because people have had to work in different circumstances. So I think there's a lot of things we can look at there, Pong, and you hit the nail on the head, brother. So let's go ahead and roll this over to you, Centurion. Where you at, man? Gaming in 2020, man. How was it for you? You there?
He's on
No,
mute.
I'm here. No, I'm
Oh,
here.
okay.
No, I'm here. I'm
All
just like trying to so how was it for me? So gaming in 2020 for me, man, I don't want to sound cheesy here, but I really can't wrap it up in like a single to compare it to gaming because man, this generation I got back into online multiplayer. I finally started playing multiplayer again with you guys. For a while there, I was like Pong. I just basically played online. I mean, I played solo. I very rarely went online. When I did, I'd play with random people. Um, I would have to say my takeaway from this generation, because, you know, I know what a lot of people say. They kind of see like 2020 as this big bad year, and I know it's been hard on a lot of people. But I feel like just because I had this community alone, I didn't really have it as hard as a lot of other people. And for me, the whole takeaway from this generation, this whole thing in 2020, I guess you'd say, is just being able to be part of this community. I know it sounds cheesy, but you know, to actually
No, if
be
that's what
part
it
of
is,
a
bro.
community, a neighborhood, make friends, family, you know, relationships that you can kind of take with you for the rest of your life. You know, you can't really put that on a game, because, you know, a game, it's only, you know, you could put 300-400 hours into Destiny and you're still going to move on to another looter shooter, but you're still going to bring those friends with you. And that's where I definitely I kind of see it differently.
Got it. No, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. That's awesome, and that's part of what Pong was talking about. You know, that's a piece to the equation as well. As I mean, that's something that's awesome. I mean, the sense of community. I mean, Pong, I'm sure you can relate to that because we were talking pre-game. The fact
Yeah.
that you're on the podcast and you're having all these different experiences is because of gaming. You know, that's the
Yeah.
common denominator. So, I don't know if you
Absolutely.
want to kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's been a huge part. Like, you know, I jumped back into the community. Like, I found this community. Like, I had been on the outer edges, you know, on Twitter, but I had a Twitter account that was full of everything, right? And I found myself, as this year progressed, getting more and more, you know, crabby and angry because there's so much negativity out there, right? So I decided for myself to create a dedicated Twitter just for video gaming and hop into this community, right? Because I loved what I was seeing. And yeah, we've got drama in this community and we've got all sorts of garbage and whatever else. But at the same time, I could limit that. But then I hopped in this community and I didn't really expect much. I was just going to do the usual Twitter thing and follow some people and, you know, retweet.
Yeah.
And then I found YouTube, right? And then I started watching all these podcasts, and I'm lucky enough to be at a job where I can listen to the podcast while I'm working. And I had time to interact with people in the chat. And all of a sudden I started finding all these great people. Like, I've had friends that game, but never gaming like I game, right?
Mhm.
For all these years. And all of a sudden I found this whole community full of people that do that. And it was eye-opening, right? And all of a sudden I started making all these connections and meeting all these awesome people like you guys and everybody else that I've had the pleasure of connecting with. And it made 2020 a better year. As terrible as it has been, it was a very bright spot in my life to find this
Awesome.
community.
Awesome,
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So, and that goes right hand in hand with what Centurion was saying as well. So that's a big thing. I mean, community is huge, and I talk about this as well. Same thing happened for me years ago. You know, way back we talked about 2013. That's kind of when I got put onto the community, just randomly kind of stumbled up. And at that point in time, there was maybe one or two Xbox related podcasts. The community was nowhere near what it is now. So it's awesome when you kind of discover it. It feels like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like you just tripped and fell into a community that you didn't know existed. So that's awesome, Pong, and that's why
Exactly.
video games are these. They're inherently unbiased because they don't care who plays them. You know, they
Exactly.
can't dictate who plays them, and it's awesome, awesome. So shout out to everybody watching live right now. Appreciate the support once again. Hit the like button on the way in. The super chat is live, man. Seeing some new names in here. That's awesome. So new names. Subscribe if you have not already. I appreciate you guys' support. Hopefully you're enjoying the show here. So let's throw this over to you, Fuzz, and gaming moments, man. 2020 has been a long, rough, slow, fast, a stressful year for a lot of different people. So what's your gaming kind of summary for 2020?
I've definitely learned time management and stress management throughout this year. I mean, one with the community as far as gaming, two with just the amount of games that I probably wouldn't have bothered touching as far as what's in Game Pass and things like that. Just coming across just new titles, new genres of things that I have now got me hooked on those types of games now. But it's been a weird year in general. I mean, I've always tried to dedicate some time to gaming, after work or on weekends and whatnot. And Now with working from home, it's like, oh, I don't have that, hour drive from the office back to the house. So I could start some gaming. And then, with the kids being home, school being online or virtual and stuff like that, it's like, oh, y'all are going to play, Cold War. Yeah, let's hop on now after work or after school or whatever the case is. But it's, man, you guys talked about it earlier, the growth as far as a lot of people that probably didn't bother with gaming prior. I've now found something like, just remember, what was it? Animal Crossing. That was like it was like the perfect storm. It came out just as everybody had to be stuck at home or stay indoors. So it's and that being like a not completely a multiplayer, but you can visit others' islands and things like that. But just that sheer, relaxation from, when you watch the news and you're like, oh my God, what now? Murder hornets and COVID and just a whole bunch of random things. It seemed like it was almost like it was a disaster movie for the year 2020. And I don't know where to begin on that one, but overall, gaming was a good escape. Before my escape used to be Grand Theft Auto. It's like dealing with rush hour traffic. It's like, oh yeah, I could just run people off the road in Grand Theft Auto. But now it's like, well, the economy being what it is, let me, figure out what a new career can be like in Sims or just other random games and things like that, and meeting other people in the community and just, having a common, hobby or shared hobby and enjoying it. But I think the biggest thing for me is just learning how to relieve stress, learning how to not really come to peace, but like relax, I guess, is about the biggest thing. When it seems like everything's on fire out the window, at least, check to make sure your house is not burning, but at least you have something to kind of escape from, what's going on outside or what's going on in the world that you may not have, the ability to make change or affect or anything along those lines. So at least you have something to kind of, hang your hat on, type of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a lot of different great things we can take from this. And I want to highlight something Pong said earlier, Pong, and I want you to elaborate on this as well. And I said it in the chat just a minute ago, I think this is going to be, we're going to look at 2020 for all the wrong reasons. Like I understand, I get it. Like we're going to look at it. We all want to throw it away. I know we do. But from a gaming perspective, and once again, Pong, I want you to elaborate on this. I think this may end up, like you said, being one of those turning point years where not just for the reason Pong said, for the reasons Centurion said, as well as for what you said, Fuzzy. And I kind of want you to elaborate on that, Pong, as far as when you said growth, as far as how that's going, what that's going to look like for the industry later on.
Opportunities, right? So the industry itself, whenever we see this type of growth, and we've seen it at different points throughout the history of gaming, right? We've seen different turning points where gaming got a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, right? And taking a bigger piece of the pie. So what the industry is obviously looking for now is engagement numbers, right? That's where everything's turning to, is engagement, right? So now that more people have discovered gaming and the engagement that they get out of it, it's like, okay, so like a TV show or a movie, right? You pay your money and it's over with, 2 hours or whatever. You get a season of, a TV show, 8 episodes or, 12 episodes or whatever the case may be. And it ends, right? With gaming, you've got stories that continue and they go on, and they are as big or as small as you want them to be, right? So people have learned all of a sudden, a lot of new people, I should say, a lot of us gamers already know this, obviously, but new people to the industry now realize that they can buy a game or get Game Pass or whatever the case may be and have access to all these worlds, all these stories that they can continue to interact with for extended periods of time, and how they choose to do it, right? Yeah. So you're not required to sit down and I need 5 hours to play this. No, you can find a smaller game that you can sit down and play 20 minutes to. you jump 20 minutes into a TV show and now you don't want to turn it off, or you turn it off and you forgot what happened, right?
Yeah.
So that is what people are discovering, and what that's going to mean now that the industry has, I believe, become more mainstream and more accepted as a, good way to spend your time. I've had people, personally that never don't game, right? Or have gamed just on their mobile phones, and they're calling me asking me about the new consoles, saying, hey, what's going on with Xbox? What's going on with PlayStation? I'm like, wait a minute. You don't play. What are you talking about, right? And they're saying, yeah, well, I want something for me and the kids to do. We got all this time on our hands. We need something to do, and I'm kind of interested in getting into this. So what that's going to mean is that now the gaming industry is going to be taken more serious, which means more money pumped into it, right? And that's, at the end of the day, it's the business side that's going to drive it, right? It's great. It's great for us gamers. It's going to be great for the companies. And at the end of the day, it's just going to make more content, more opportunities for people to get into this space. And that it's just, at some point, the momentum, it's going to be that snowball, bouncing down the hill, down the mountainside, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're going to see that. And I think there's no stopping it at this point. I think now this is that turning point where it is mainstream. Less people are going to say, oh, you game? More people are going to be like, oh, what are you playing? So, and I think that conversation opens up a lot. And that's just, again, we can already see it. And I think we're just going to see it more and more as we go forward.
Awesome. So great breakdown. I love that breakdown. A lot of great talking points here. We could have a whole another show just based off your answers. Dead ass serious. So I want to do some quick shout outs as well for some people in here. I'm seeing some new names. I saw Steel Rain, shout out to you. Rick Payne, shout out to you. Dan the Man Cunningham. I love that name, bro. Surprised that shit fit, man. That's crazy. But glad to see you in here hanging out. Uncle Mike from NLG is in the house. I saw Xbot earlier. Man, you guys are all out in force tonight. I appreciate it. Once again, retweet the link. Let everybody know we live. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please do me a favor. Do us a favor here on the show and subscribe to the channel, man. More content coming you guys' way. So we're doing something new today. Not necessarily new, but we haven't done it in a little while. So I'm opening up the rest of the show just for topics from the chat, just for questions from the chat. So however long we decide to go on this thing, we'll just roll. So I'm giving you guys the keys essentially to the rest of the show. So if you guys have questions you want to ask me, Pong, Fuzz, and Tyrion, let us know right now what you guys want to talk about. We'll just fire off some rapid fire stuff and we'll keep it moving. But once again, we're giving you guys the key to the show. We want you guys to have as much fun, be as engaging as possible in regards to the show. So once again, right now, we just need questions. Throw questions in the chat. Let us know what's going on. What you guys, if you guys need questions about games, consoles, whatever you guys want to talk about, let us know right now in the chat. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to get the questions together. But anything you guys wanted. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, here we go. So right away, shout out to Rick Payne. Got the first question in the chat. Once again, throw them in there, guys. Let us know. I need a list. Just keep throwing them in there. I need a list. So shout out to Mr. Keeman too, man. So shout out to Rick Payne. He said, do you think 343 should drop Halo for Xbox One? We talked about this last week. We're going to start with you, Pong, on this one. Just a quick rapid fire here. People talking about possibly dropping support for the last gen consoles and only making Halo Infinite exclusive to the new consoles. What is your opinion on that, brother?
No. This is simple. Leave it up to my buddy Rick Payne to come in with the 343 question, by the way. Again, we could have a whole nother show on this, which has been done to death, as I know. But the short answer is no. And the reason behind that is because this, whether you agree or not, whether you like it or not, and I'm not a Halo fanatic. I'm what would be considered a casual Halo fan. I enjoy all of the Halo series. I don't have strong opinions on any of them. I play them all and I enjoy them all for what they are, right? But they've developed this game from the beginning to be on that old system. Now, whether right or wrong, right? They supposedly, created this new engine, the Slipspace engine, to work on all generations of consoles, right? And whether we believe that's going to actually work out in the end doesn't matter, right? So they developed this from the beginning to be on all these consoles, and they need to continue that forward.
Yeah.
They need to do that.
So-
That they need the support. They need to have as many people as playing as possible. That's why they've gone and already come out and said that the multiplayer is going to be free to play. They need to make this thing live. Especially if they've got the supposed 10-year plan, Destiny style plan for Halo Infinite, they're going to need as many people in the community active playing this game as possible. So you cannot cut out that base of the older gen right now. There's no way you can do that. So no, flat out.
Right. No, I 100% agree on that. I 100% agree on that. So we go ahead and keep rapid fire through these questions. So Indie Gamer, most anticipated indie game of 2021. I don't know. Anybody want to take that question?
12 minutes.
12 minutes. Though that's the
one.
the game that takes place in essentially one room, I believe, the whole time.
Mhm.
Right? You're in a bedroom of some sort, but it's a mind fuck. That's all I know.
I'm intrigued by the new Far Cry.
Oh, yep. And The Ascent as well. Is The Ascent technically, that's an indie, right?
The Ascent is an indie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the game looks phenomenal. That's
You guys said indie. I didn't hear you say indie.
no, yeah, and that's what. So Indy asked, by the way.
Oh.
No, it's all good.
I'm going to shout out a biased one here is Song of Iron. I've had interactions and watched podcasts with Joe, who's the developer. He's a single one-man team. He's got a guy that did the music and stuff, but he's a single developer. A Song of Iron. He released a beta.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful,
Side-scrolling.
incredible looking Viking setting, and it. I'm looking forward to it. I played the beta. Awesome. Again, single developer, super great guy. Interacts with the community, always open. You should go check out his channel because he shows a lot of behind the scenes of the creation of the game. Just phenomenal.
Awesome.
So that's mine.
All right, cool. And then let's go ahead and keep going here, man. We got a ton of questions. You guys are bombarding me today. I'm having to hire a secretary. This is ridiculous. No, I appreciate the support. You guys are fucking amazing. This is awesome. I love it. So let's just keep it moving, man. Keep it going. So the next question from Dan the Man Cunningham. He said it's 2021. What announced games are you most looking forward to? We'll throw this one to you, Fuzz.
Announced games outside of like indie, I'm gonna say Starfield. That's just because I like sci-fi stuff. So Starfield is the one I'm hoping.
You're still scratching that Mass Effect itch
Yeah.
until you get Mass Effect. That's the real answer. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Starfield would be the big one for you. Anybody else want to throw their ring in the hat here? Anything you guys looking forward to? Fuzz, not Fuzz, but Centurion, Hong.
I'll go ahead. I'll do a double feature here. Outriders in February.
Yep.
Definitely. I didn't jump into their alpha or beta test that they had, but I know people that I trust, and they can't talk about it, but they've said they're excited. So that's good enough for me. And then Back for Blood. I loved Left 4 Dead, and I've been waiting for. Whether it's another one or a spiritual successor, I don't care. And since it's from the guys who made the original, I'm all in. I've watched people play it, and man, it looks crazy and it looks fun, and it's everything that I was hoping for in another one. So I can't wait for that one.
Awesome. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and take this question from Xbot. I know I'm a little bit behind. Say, do you think a Forza game will come out this year? If so, is it Motorsport or Horizon? Fuzz, this is 100% you. 100%.
I really want it to be Motorsport. It's not that I'm tired of Horizon 4, but I want them to advance Motorsport so you can have multiple classes of cars that have a tune as opposed to being the base tune setup or something like that, as far as for like, GT cars versus like small hatches or classic hatch versus like Camaros and Mustangs or something along those lines. So it's like I really want it to be Motorsport, but something tells me it's going to wind up being a Horizon 5. Now, if it is a Horizon 5, they need to do the fan service, put it in Japan, and to really turn it up a notch, open up all the previous maps, so that way it's like, oh, your main map is Japan, But if you own Horizon 4 or you own Horizon 3 or you own Horizon 2 or Horizon 1, you can go back to the US map in Horizon 1, or you can go to like France and Spain for Horizon 2, or you can go to Australia for Horizon 3. I think if they have something like that, because now, especially with the consoles, the next generation ones being more powerful, if you want to have it where the Xbox One generation and prior, they can play Horizon 3, they can play Horizon 2. But if you update those maps to current graphic levels, have it where it's like, oh, you quickly teleport to, Spain or to the US, and it's a really completely remastered rendering of those original maps, I think that's where it would be. Oh, and to answer Other Zink's question, Forza, obviously, because I always play Forza. So.
Awesome. Okay, we'll take a few more. We got a ton of questions, so there's no shortage of questions in the chat. So let's go ahead and keep it moving, man. Let's put some other ones in here. We got a ton. So I'm gonna go ahead and get Otis Harris Jr. Shout out to you, brother. I did see you got everything all in one, but I can read it. He said, "Do you think Xbox has one unannounced title they're going to release in 2021?" We'll throw that to you, Centurion. Centurion, anything you think we ain't heard about this dropping next year or this year? I'm sorry.
Oh, of course. You know, come on. I wonder how many titles Bethesda was sitting on.
That's a good point.
There is definitely an unannounced title for sure for 2021. There was a number all right, let's think about this kind of like objectively. Think about all the delays in 2020 for games that we knew about. Now think about how many games were delayed on announcing that they even existed.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think Arcane's got something up their sleeve. I'm hoping it's Prey, but it could be a Dishonored. Either way, I'll be happy.
You've heard remember all the rumors that came out of the initiative? We had Perfect Dark, we had a Silent Hill game, we had this kind of game, we had that kind of game, and it finally came out that we had a Perfect Dark game. So, it's kind of like wherever, it's kind of funny, even in history, wherever there's myth, there's just a little bit of truth. So somewhere, like some of these games that we've heard whispers of, they really are being created. We are being created right now. We just don't know by who.
Okay. All right. So great one. So let's keep this thing moving, man. Keep it moving. So Plop, I'm gonna go ahead and grab your question. Plop 6759. Appreciate you, brother. He said, which multiplayer game with a dead player base would you want to see repopulated? He said BF4 for me. Now I'm gonna take this one. With the dead. Oh man, I would probably Titanfall too, because and I don't even know if it's dead, but it's definitely not where it should be. Because the quality of the game, I know people were upset about, because Titanfall 1 was a phenomenal game. And I know a lot of people were off put just by some of the changes that were made with Titanfall 2. I just wish that game it struggled a lot of that wasn't the only reason it struggled. It wasn't just the fact that they made changes. I believe it came out with something else, and it got completely overshadowed. Anybody remember? It came out next to something else, and it got
Battlefield.
Yeah, it was Battlefield.
Completely overshadowed, and nobody really looked at it until way later on. By the way, Titanfall 2 has the best campaign from a shooter I've ever played. It's right up there with Halo 3 and probably COD 4 as far as campaign. But I think that one would be, because it's a fantastic game, and I still don't. That game for a shooter has some of the tightest, most precise controls that I've ever seen. They responded in a phenomenal job with the shooter. So that's one. Anybody else have one they want to throw in there, a game that may be dead that they would like to see kind of come back alive?
Yeah, but it's going to take some reconfiguring. One that I would love to see kind of go through a transformation is Bleeding Edge. I know it's a team like arena type of like melee combat, but just turn it into a fighter. Just put it in place of Killer Instinct, or have it compete with something along the lines of like Street Fighter. The characters are interesting. The level of detail in the characters and their move sets, I would say just make it a one-on-one, or like a Street Fighter type game. Do that, and I think that game would come back to life.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Okay.
if I can throw one in, It's a perfect segue, dude. You kind of set me up for saying Anthem.
Oh, that's
Glad you said it.
That's an obvious choice.
It's coming in.
Oh goodness, I'm glad. You know what? I apologize. And I'm apologizing that that should have been the obvious. What the hell am I talking about? Forget it. But yeah, you can throw my answer out the window. I love fighting, but the obvious choice is Anthem here. Go ahead. Sincere.
No, I was just gonna say Anthem is actually a perfect candidate for that
It
category.
really is.
And the funny part is there was an article that popped up this morning that I haven't been able to read yet. It's 2021. Where's Anthem 2.0? That's all I've read so far is the title.
Oh man, so that's a great one. That's another one that I mean, whether we get Anthem 2.0 or not, I'm still gonna probably like check it out. Like I'm still gonna give it a chance.
Check it out.
Yeah,
man.
I'm still
serious on. Like I'm just serious. Whoever they get the gall to walk up on stage, Anthem 2.0 for yours for $69.99.
You better go right here.
Like, dude, I feel like it's gonna be like the NWO with Hollywood Hulk Hogan all over again. People are just gonna start throwing trash on the stage.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody don't come out WWE style and hit him with a chair or something.
Oh, dude, I mean,
right here. Sure.
You already, dude. You thought the Cyberpunk thing was bad about people wanting some refunds. Oh my god! They came out and said, "Oh, we fixed it," but you need to buy it again.
Oh Lord, no! Lord, no! That better not happen. That better.
Game Pass Day 1. It better be Game Pass Day 1.
There you go. We have a service. Just like that.
That's right.
We got a service for you. We got a service for you. It's called Game Pass. But anyway, so let's get a couple more questions and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. I'm having so much fun. You guys are awesome. So another question from Rick Payne. Shout out to you, brother, for being so engaging. And shout out to Winter Shoulder. I put Soldier, but it's Winter Shoulder. I'm tripping, bro. Shout out to you. He said, so Rick Payne said thoughts on Stalker 2 in-engine trailer. Now, I did not watch it. I'm a fraud. I did not watch the actual. It's only like maybe like a minute I saw long.
Yeah, it's
good.
pretty
quick.
The screenshots look great. But anybody want to just throw their thoughts out on their Palm, Fuzz,
What game?
Stalker
2
in-engine trailer. Somebody put a link.
Is that an indie game?
Excuse me?
Is that going to be like an indie game? Like I feel like
No.
this game came out for me.
It looks at least a double A.
To my understanding, isn't it like the other half of the people that used to do Metro or something?
Yeah, Fuzzy. So the original Stalker team left the company. I can't remember the company's name. God, I can't remember who did the original Stalker. Anyways, they left, and then they broke up into two teams. They broke apart, two companies, right? And so one went off and started the Metro series, and the other one, I can't remember what else they've done, but now they're back on the Stalker 2. And they're going back to their roots, right? Yeah. So it's still part of the original team. It's not everybody. And obviously Metro was a spiritual successor in all shapes and form. I mean, it was, basically Stalker in a lot of ways, expanded out. But Stalker 2, I wasn't a PC guy, but I had a couple buddies who were PC guys, and I used to go over and play Stalker on their rigs, and absolutely amazing game. Atmosphere is out of this world. I'm not a horror guy, but you give me guns and you give me something I can blow away, monsters with, I'm good. So Stalker 2 looks like they're going to just expand on the original Stalker and keep that atmosphere, that dark, depressing, atmosphere that just weighs down on you, and then they're going to bring in the scary stuff, right? Looks phenomenal. Lighting looked incredible. Textures look out of this world. So we'll see. It's supposedly an Xbox exclusive, Xbox and PC. So we'll see.
And it's not cross-gen. It's only Series S and X. So this is going to be taking full advantage of the new hardware. That's a big point as well, too. But Fuzz, I know you were going to say something. Or Centurion, somebody.
Oh no! I was just going to say even though it's a short trailer, the environment looked amazing.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing how much more they have as far as different biomes and things like that. But just the corridor stuff and the lighting changes, and from the original trailer, I'm curious to see how well this thing does, because it looks like it's going to be a eye candy shooter that has horror elements to it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Go ahead, Centurion. I know you were gonna Don't want to cut you
Well,
off.
no, I'm glad you guys are up to date on the game because, like, it's where I get a lot of my information is from YouTube and listening to people in general. And for me, I don't know too much about Stalker, but my question is, like, that's where when it comes to like game developers and like what rank they hold in the gaming world, it seems like there is too many damn shades of gray. It's like the minute you say independent, the minute you say indie developer, like I used to be the ones that would automatically think like 8-bit games,
Big games,
basically
yeah.
it's like, oh my god, why would people want to play that? But to me, I'm more on the technical aspect of, like, to me, anything that is not owned anything that is not owned by said company, to me, is an independent developer. Now, I understand with AA, it means that you were hired by a publisher to create a game or something like that. But that's where I always, because when you talk to like Moon Studios with Thomas Muller, they really consider themselves like an independent developer, even though, like, they've been under that Microsoft umbrella for a little while. So that's where I've always gotten confused on, like, what makes a game an indie game, what makes it AA, AAA. To me, it's just I hate all the shades of gray.
Absolutely. And to be fair, so let's get this out the way real quick. We show a lot of love to indies on this show. We constantly talk about indies. I try and make sure we highlight, because I think, and I don't know if you agree with this, Pong. I may throw this to you. They throw this lob up in there. You got to dunk it. I'll throw it up there. But so essentially, I think, as far as indies, we talked about earlier, last generation. I think indies have made more games last generation than any other, I guess you could say, I don't know, sector of gaming, from triple A's to I guess double A. But I think indies have made a huge impact on the industry. They've made so much progress. Like you said, it used to be, you hear indie, you think 8-bit games, you think a bunch of throwaway, the Burger King games, like that kind of stuff. You don't think full-fledged. You don't think Stalker 2, am I right? Oh,
No, I don't think Soccer 2, but technically probably could argue it. I mean,
yeah.
again, it just depends if they're receiving funding or not from Xbox to make it exclusive. Then you kind of blur the line a little bit. And I don't know if that's the case or not, but yeah, I think Indie Gamer in the chat too, we've had this discussion too before. Those lines are definitely blurring.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very hard to tell, but yeah, I agree with you that that's probably one point I missed when I was discussing the industry as a whole. And it was probably in the back of my head too, because I did think about it before. But indie games, yes, huge impact, impact.
To kind of like interject just one thing, let's talk about like what Phil Spencer talks about with the Game Pass program.
Yeah.
The Game Pass program is not a one size fits all kind of thing for all developers. It comes down to, you could have a game idea that you want to produce, but you just don't have the money to do it. That's how they could give you some money and you put it in Game Pass. There's a number of ways that Microsoft can technically give a developer money and still they can retain that idea of being independent.
Correct.
It is with Game Pass now, they have a platform to put games like this on there to kind of give them some legs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's exactly why Game Pass is a Swiss Army knife, bro. It's such a dope safety net. It's like the ultimate pillow cushion. Like you can never, like, if everything falls apart, Game Pass is that safety net.
It's like, so imagine you have an idea for a video game. The original old school way of doing this was to create this game, and before you even build this game, you had to go before basically a room of publishers and convince one of them to basically throw down the checkbook on your game. Now with Game Pass, it's pretty much opened the doors to where they don't have to really do this. They could just go straight to Game Pass and say, this is what we're looking for. This is what we want to create. And Microsoft has shown interest that they are wanting to put content in Game Pass, as long as you're not going to obviously go out there and create crap. But, they want content for Game Pass. So they are all ears when it comes to somebody who wants to create a game.
Absolutely.
And that's amazing. The role reversal, if you think about it, from the beginning of last gen to now, Sony was known as like the indie friendly place to be, right? And suddenly Microsoft has flipped that script completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talked about earlier, Song of Iron, Joe, he thanks Microsoft up and down for their id program, for their indies, because that's why he's making his game. He left the industry to go out on his own, and without that support, with how strong Microsoft support is, he wouldn't be there today making that game.
Oh,
right?
there's so many.
There's so many that are like that, and now we have this whole identity for Microsoft with Game Pass and everything that they've done, where they are the home of indies, and indie developers are flocking to Microsoft to make their games, and it's showing. I mean, again, it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. And if I can add one last thing, I feel like it's going to go beyond just the home for indies. I feel like we're going to see it's going to soon be the home for a lot of Western titles. If
no, absolutely.
Because call me crazy, whatever. I did a video on this, shameless plug, but we already see Sony pulling out of the Asian market. I have read numerous articles from basically individuals in the Asian market through the Wall Street Journal. It is basically their opinion that Sony is slowly pulling out of the Asian market and concentrating more on the North American market, and that Asian game developers are noticing that basically they're worried that they're going to be ignored. And so what has Phil Spencer been doing for days now? Going over, shaking hands, kissing babies, creating connections over there. And as soon as Sony basically starts rubbing them the wrong way, going, we don't really need you guys, we're going to concentrate over here, Microsoft is going to swoop in and be like, hey, who wants to put what on Game Pass?
So once again, that just reiterates how awesome Game Pass is. That's amazing. That is amazing. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to go ahead and wrap things up, man. This has been a jam-packed show. That hour flew by so fast, I didn't even realize we've been talking for the hour. But that's why the show is so amazing. But once again, everybody, we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. Such a great such a great lineup. Our panel members today, as well as our special guests, you guys have all been amazing. Everybody in the chat that shows love, support, all the new people that I saw. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys want more of this content. We're here every Saturday, so don't miss out. Do yourself a favor, man. Check us out. Let everybody know, people that enjoy video games, let them know about the podcast as well. Like I said, Super Chat is live on the way out. If you guys want to donate, support the show that way, I do appreciate that as well. But let's go ahead and just go around a panel, let everybody know where they're at. Once again, before we do anything, I do want to say thank you to our special guest, Mr. Pong. So you're fucking phenomenal, bro. You're awesome. I would think you've been doing this for the last couple of years. You're a natural, bro. I'm saying it on there. Yes, he's a natural. You're amazing. And just thank you for taking the time out, spending a little bit of time with us. This definitely won't be the last time we'll have you on the show. And I hope you had a good time. But man, let everybody know where you at, where they can find you at, what's going on with you.
First of all, I'm speechless. Thank you so much. It means a lot hearing that from an established creator. And thank you guys all for inviting me on this show and into your, little home on YouTube, and and being so welcoming and making it easy to do this. That's always a worry. And obviously I had, not interacted with you guys hardly at all. So you never know what you're going to get. Obviously I kind of had an idea for you guys, but you guys really didn't have any idea for me what I was going to be like, but you guys made this natural and very easy to do. So I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, man. It means a lot to start 2021 with something like this. And it's an awesome experience. So thank you. And I'll come back anytime you want me to. I love it. So I appreciate you.
Awesome.
Everybody, chat, thank you all for coming out tonight. I've seen a lot of my familiar buddies out there. It's always weird to be here versus just in the chat, but it's good to see you guys come out and support me. I appreciate you guys so much for that. I love you guys all. Happy New Year to you all. You can find me on Twitter, Pong Soul. Same name. I don't have a YouTube account yet. We'll see what 2021 brings. But you can find me there. You're going to find me posting a lot of pictures from Cyberpunk and other video games. I like to do photography in video games. And you'll see me retweet a lot of podcasts out and stuff like that. So follow me. I'll follow you back and love interacting with everybody. So thank you again.
No, once again, man, great. A+, phenomenal and great to have you on the show. Like you said, it's not an exact science doing this. You meet people, and when it works out, you can definitely tell. And like I said, I appreciate you. I hope you take the time to even think about doing a YouTube channel because let me tell you right now, and I'm putting this out here in the universe. It's there. You got it. It's already there, bro. So like I said, I appreciate you blessing us and hanging out with us. It's been a little bit of your Saturday to take some time here on the show. And you're always welcome to come back. So once again, guys, this will not be the last time you see Pong here on the show, man. Once again, thank you
Appreciate
so
that
much. Not a
so
problem.
much.
Not a problem, brother. Let me get to this quick super chat. Shout out to you, Dan the Man Cunningham, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. He said, well done, PTK Blam, Pong, Soul, Fuzzy Belvedere, Centurion. Great show. I'm now a subscriber. Once again, Dan, thank you so much, man. That to me just means that you guys are enjoying the show, and that's why we do what we do every single Saturday. If one person subscribes, I'm 100% happy with that. But thank you for the support as well as far as the super chat, because you don't have to, but you guys do take the time to support the show, extra support the show as well. So thank you for that. Shout out to ACS House. I see you jumping here all late. You're going to have to catch the link, bro. You have to catch the link. I'm sorry. You got to catch the link. But no, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But let's throw this over to you, Centurion, man. My brother from another mother, Centurion. Let everybody know what's going on with you. Any new videos cooked up, man? What's going on?
Oh, yes. Definitely cooking up some new videos in between taking down the Christmas decorations and all that other fun stuff that comes with celebrating Christmas. For those interested, you can always find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, and Xbox Live. And as always, you can find me here every Saturday night on the Shop Podcast, kicking it with these fine gentlemen, my brothers from another mother. And it was also nice to meet Mr. Pong Soul. I always see him in other chats. And like I said, it's really great to meet members of this community, especially strong, active members of this community. So definitely that was a fun one. And as always, if you want to also find me on TXR Podcast every Sunday night as well.
Awesome. It's great to have you here, Centurion, every week, man. You add so much depth to the show and just your opinions. We appreciate you, man, every single week. Last but not least, this is where we smooth things out, Pong. So I forgot to give you the itinerary before I invited you. For this part of the show, you have to wear a tie, smoking jacket, and or own a pipe of some sort.
Okay, I'll look for something.
Got it. Get you a glass of wine. Get yourself to throw on some real low, smooth music. Go ahead, Fuzz.
Man, this was definitely a fun episode. Thank you for joining us, Pong. Greatly appreciate you being here. Man, so well versed in this hobby that we all enjoy, and man, this was awesome.
Thank you.
Always enjoy being on here with Centurion. Shout out to Stag. I know he's enjoying time with the wife and family, so hey, shout out to him. Hope he's having fun right now. But man, this was an awesome show. You can always find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, PSN Fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live Fuzzy_Belvedere. Usually playing Forza or Gran Turismo or some sort of racing game of some sort. But man, this was awesome. I'm so glad to have been a part of this. Thank you.
Awesome, man. And last but not least, once again, thank you, Fuzz. You're fucking awesome as well. Though let's not forget Stag, like he said as well. Shout out to Stag, man. That's the part he's a part of the crew, man. 4 amigos, I should say. But either way, man, shout out to everybody. Last but not least, your boy PTK Blam, the host with the most, across the board. I do run the show, but you guys are all a part of the show. You guys make the show what it is. And my panel mates as well make the show what it is. I appreciate you guys every single week coming and hang out. Make sure you guys retweet the show. Let everybody know what's going on. The link will be live probably for the next 30, 45 minutes. So if you didn't catch the show live, the link will be up on Twitter. Follow us there. Hit me up on Xbox Live if and when you guys want to play some video games. PTK Blam, like I said before. Once again, you guys are amazing. Thank you, all the new people. Hope you join us again next week, same time, same place. More than likely a new guest. I think we already have somebody lined up. But once again, last but not least, Pong, you are fucking amazing. This is not the last time you guys will see Pong on the show. That is definitely for sure. But enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great start to your new year. Peace out. Everybody stay safe, stay positive. We're out of here, everybody.
Later, guys.